It says you're live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 5th episode of CelebWorx Live, where we only buy our produce from Dr. Pamela Isley's garden. I'm Christopher Arsaga.
I'm Nery Lemus. Thanks for joining us.
Before we bring on our special guest, we want to remind you that if you have any general questions for us or our special guest, please post them on the official stream, and we'll answer them if we can.
Great. I'm excited to bring on this voiceover legend to the program. Over the years, Diane Pershing has had lead cartoon characters in projects such as Dale Arden and Flash Gordon, Pearl Pureheart and the Adventures of Mighty Mouse, Natosa in She-Ra, Princess of Power, Dynak X, and Defenders of the Earth. However, she is most notable for her iconic portrayal as Poison Ivy in Batman the Animated Series, The New Batman Adventures, Gotham Girls, and Justice League. Since graduating UCLA with a BA in Theater Arts, Diane has been lucky enough to earn her living in many areas of the entertainment business, beginning with years on the road touring as a singer and theater actress. But once she settled down in Los Angeles, she began doing voiceovers, cartoons, commercials, narrations, network promos, and more. Overlapping her voiceover career, the years have also seen her finding success as a TV writer, a romance novelist, a film critic, and a radio disc jockey. Today, Diane counts herself extremely lucky to be someone who gets to work in an industry she loves, and how many can say that? She's a big supporter of our company and one of the founding members of our company, and we love her dearly. Please welcome the marvelous Diane Pershing to the program.
Woo! Yes.
Hello, everybody.
Yes.
Forgive me while I set this up. We'll do a quick thing, and there we go.
How
are you, darling? We haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah, I'm on this side now. Wait, I'm on that. I'm normally over there. That's all right.
Yeah, usually it's
I'm
fine.
normally over that way, but that's okay.
I have no idea which sides you usually are on.
It's totally fine.
It's throwing me off because now I don't know where to look, but that's okay.
How have you been? We miss you. How are you handling the quarantine?
Well, first of all, I miss you guys so much. Being on the road and doing those cons, the best.
We miss you so much. You have no idea.
How am I handling the quarantine? I would say I count my blessings pretty much because I have enough money to live on. I can grocery shop. I have friends. I'm having FaceTime breakfast with a friend once a week and a picnic in the park with 20 feet apart with a friend once a week. I'm doing the socialization that I require because I'm a very social girl, as you know. And I'm just hoping and hoping and hoping that people are staying safe. And I love that people are really being pretty kind to each other, which I think is amazing.
So you're the poster child of social distancing, and I love it. I think more people need to know what it is.
You know. I have wonderful masks.
I can picture you at the park in your picnic, and you have like the can with the string so you can talk, to your friend 20 feet away.
No, I'm an actor. I just make my voice louder.
Brilliant. I'm going to get us started. You know, you've been singing since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about that? You have a marvelous singing voice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Can we talk about it? I have been a singer since I was a little girl. And my father played piano by ear, and he played and he accompanied me. And I sang all of the songs of the time, including all of the emotional stuff, you know, because I was always probably going to be an actor. And I loved singing, and I was in choir in high school and the madrigal group and a little professional background studio work. And I was on the road touring. That was my first professional job right out of college, on the road with Johnny Mathis, you know.
You went to school in Montana, right?
No, Montana. No, I went to UCLA.
Oh, UCLA. Okay.
I'm sorry. I did summer stock in Montana.
So you did summer stock in Montana. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Oh, so much fun. I went to a wonderful little theater in Montana where friends of mine, Roy and Eileen Rogerson, did the theater, ran the theater, and I had two leading roles. One was Little Mary Sunshine, which is soprano, okay, and the other one was Hello Dolly, which she sings before the parade passes by. So I had two voices, see? And so whichever one you needed me to do, that was the one I did. I had such a good time.
And how did you transition? You mentioned Johnny Mathis. How did you transition to that?
I auditioned. I got home from doing that summer stock, and the friend that picked me up in his car from I think it was the train station or something. I don't think I had enough money to get a plane, so I took the train. And he picked me up, and there was a variety lying on the seat. And I picked it up, just browsing through, and all of a sudden I see audition tomorrow for a new singing group to back up Johnny Mathis. And I went, yeah, I can do that. And I went there. And by the way, my hair was blonde because I went blonde that summer for Little Mary Sunshine because she would look cute and ingenuous. And I auditioned, and I was the soprano. I was hired. That's how it happened.
What was your final show with Johnny Mathis?
At the Copacabana in New York.
Wow.
Copacabana. I had an offer to audition for something that was going to be going to Broadway. And I had been with Johnny for a year, and I had been thinking about staying in New York and, trying to make it on Broadway. And so that was the last show I did. And we kept in touch, by the way, for many, many years because his conductor, Diane Pershing, the late Diane Pershing, became my husband.
Oh, wow.
So I was part of Johnny's entourage group for many, many years afterwards.
Now, you mentioned Broadway. Was being a stage actor something that you were aspiring to be? Is that what was your breakthrough in the industry?
It was what I thought. You know how it's interesting how there's an old Jewish expression, man plans, God laughs.
Absolutely.
I love that expression. I was going to be a star on Broadway. And I went to New York, and I did, by the way, the show never opened, and I didn't get the part either, because that's real life, right? I mean, let's be very clear. But I auditioned, and I did a couple of commercials, and I got an agent and a singing thing. And then some personal business brought me back to California. And basically, I stayed. I stayed in California. And I became a backup singer again, and then a show singer with these groups.
The Establishment.
The Establishment. Right. This was a wonderful show group. We did TV, we did Vegas and Tahoe.
So I'm gonna bring it up a little bit because I know a little bit of the background. Yeah. So you were on a couple of Harry Nilsson albums, right?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that experience? I mean, what was it like to be in studio? I don't know if you ever saw Harry Nilsson, but I'm a huge fan of his.
We did the backgrounds.
Right.
We were supposed to be in the studio with him, but he was, let me put this.
Oh, I know. He had a wild side. I know.
Yeah, and he didn't show up.
Oh, wow.
I think there's a great story where Mickey Dolenz, I'm pretty sure it was Mickey Dolenz, and Harry Nilsson, I guess Harry was like, let's go somewhere. And Mickey's like, I got to stay in town. I got to stay in town. And literally 3 days later, his wife calls him and goes, where are you? And he didn't know where he was for 3 days. That's the kind of crazy adventure he was with Harry Nilsson. So,
and you know about Mickey Dolenz, which is hysterical. I was in high school with him.
Really? What a small circle. That's crazy.
I've never heard that before. Yes. I'm serious.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in all these years, so I haven't reminded him. We did a play together in high school.
We've done shows where he's been at the show.
So
really? I haven't said. Okay, next.
Nery, if he's at a show,
yeah, we got to do it. We got to get it done. Now,
he'll remember me.
Oh, I'm sure. You're unforgettable, darling. There's no way. The Establishment also did variety shows with like Carol Burnett and Sonny and Cher. I mean, you got to remember, people out there admire these variety shows. I mean, it's almost as iconic as being on a Dean Martin variety special.
They were wonderful. And there was a musician strike during one, by the way, and my husband was the music director still. For the Establishment too, and he had to write the accompanying part, which we sang a cappella, and then we sang the lead part on top of it. So we did a version of MacArthur Park, all a cappella.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's available on YouTube. It's amazing. It's amazing.
That is so cool. So from there, I guess we need to start talking about getting into voiceover. What made you want to pursue a career in voiceover?
A wonderful man that some of the older voiceover people remember very well, named Bob Lloyd.
Yeah.
I had a commercial agent here in California, and I was talking to one of the agents one day, just sitting in her office, and this man walks by, stops, comes back, pokes his head in and says, you ever done voiceovers? And I said, well, because I'd done some puppet voices and some singing stuff for a little children's television show called Dusty's Treehouse, which is a wonderful little show. And I said, kind of. He said, come talk to me. So after I finished talking to her, I went to his office and he said, you think you can do this? I said, I really, yeah, I think I can. He said, come back tomorrow, listen. It's, you know, it's without anyone seeing you. It's just your voice. I said, okay. Came back the next day. Yes, I can do it. The phone rings and they're looking for someone to do, this was at the Forum when the Lakers were at the Forum.
Yeah.
They were looking for someone to do, a woman, to do a commercial for JCPenney as one of the things during the thing, because they figured a woman's voice would cut through all the males' voices that had been being used. So what? They said to Bob, do you have anyone? And he said, she's sitting right here.
Wow.
Wow.
He sent me down there to the Forum. It was a 60-second commercial. I didn't even know at the time. I have an inner clock. I know exactly how many seconds have passed, and I nailed the sucker.
Wow.
And I had the voice for Southern California for JCPenney for 7 years.
Wow.
That's amazing.
What do you remember? Do you remember what year that was? Approximately?
No.
No.
It was
what decade? I'm only asking because I'm a Laker fan, so I'm trying to
60s.
Like, oh 60s, wow, so it was like
something like that.
Yeah, so maybe Jerry West was still there, and that's cool.
Oh, wow. Are you kidding? I was a huge Laker fan.
Wow, that is so cool.
These are the days of Kareem, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So then if it was like 75 or later, then it was Kareem. Yeah.
You have a very special talent, though, to recreate a sultry sort of voiceover, and you know we see that in many of your characters.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off from the very beginning. How did you get the role as Dale Arden in Flash Gordon?
I auditioned. It was Filmation, the old wonderful Norman and Lou Schreiber. And I went down there, I auditioned, you're hired, they said. And I don't know which of there were, I think I did 5 or 6 series for them. I don't remember all.
I think it was Flash Gordon, The Adventures of Mighty Mouse, She-Ra, Princess of Power, and Defenders of the Earth. And I'm sure
those are my 4. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure they all blend together. I'm sure there was more because I know you did guest podcasts.
I did a teenage girl voice for something. But I don't remember. I mean, it just So I went and auditioned, and with Norma and Lou, if they liked you, you were part of the group.
Yeah.
Linda Gary was a big part of that group. Alan Oppenheimer was a big part of that group.
Of course.
They were very close knit. Like they always used the same people
same people all the time. It was wonderful.
Speaking of Linda Gary, you were friends with Linda, right? Very close friends.
I was very close friends with her. I was there basically the day that she passed.
Oh
yeah.
I mean, she was very talented, and I mean, unfortunately, there's so many fans that like you. They love meeting you. They would have loved to meet Linda.
Oh, and she was a hoot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
She was. You think I'm bigger than life? She was twice as big in life than I am. She was.
Wow, wonderful. I can't even imagine that.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Too much energy in the room, huh?
Absolutely. It's okay. We're bouncing though, right? That's the great thing about this.
So I think we have to start talking about the main character that people want to know about.
Of course.
So how did you get the role as Ivy? I mean, it's iconic, absolutely iconic role. So,
and not to mention, you not only did Poison Ivy for Batman the Animated Series, which is acclaimed as the best Batman animated series to date, you were also in the new Batman Adventures, Gotham Girls, Justice League. I mean, oh my, it's just crazy.
It's like the cream of the crop.
It's so funny. You look back and you go, yeah, that was pretty terrific. But at the time, it was a job.
Right.
I'm so glad I got it. You like working, you especially like going back and working for the same people time and time and time again, because it's, first of all, of course, it's financial security. But secondly, you're so comfortable and you're artistically able to create things and try stuff. It's a joy. So for me, it was a glorious time when they kept calling up and saying, come on back, do Poison Ivy again, until they stopped.
But you were technically the first, even before Uma Thurman. I mean, there's no one to date, right? Am I right, Chris, that there was no one at that point in time before that? She's the first.
Was created, I think, for the show, wasn't she?
No, Ivy's first appearance was in 1940.
Oh, in the comic.
Yeah, in the comics. So, but prior to that, there had been no appearances. There had been no appearances on film or TV or radio. So you were the first. So, you know, a lot of people dub you as the quintessential Poison Ivy, which is a hell of a credit.
When you first got the role, though, wasn't there some sort of serendipitous reason?
Life has been serendipitous, as far as I'm concerned. You pick up a variety newspaper all of a sudden, and you're auditioning the next. You know, that kind of stuff. Yes, it was serendipitous. I was hired to do a couple of incidental roles in this particular episode, which is the one in which they introduced Poison Ivy. And I don't know what happened. There are several different stories that run around that either the person was ill or the producers had decided they really didn't like the voice that she was doing, that somebody else had been hired to do it and she wasn't there. And Andrea, bless her, Romano, said to me, I guess after they had read through something, I guess, and she'd heard my voice, and she said, would you like to audition for this part? And I went, sure.
Wow.
And I looked at the thing and I went, I knew just the voice, because at that point I was doing a lot of TV and radio commercials, and I had a sexy kind of what I called my cosmetic voice.
Swoon, people falling everywhere, yeah.
And it would be soothing, and it would be kind of sexy, and it would be, you know, that I've been doing that voice my whole life. It was so cool. And I said, yeah, I can do her, but she's a PhD also, isn't she? So there has to be a little edge to the sexiness. She can't just be sexy. She has to have a little bit of an edge. See? And I said, oh, that's the voice. I said, sure, I can do this. I can do that. I can do that. And I auditioned and I got it.
It's amazing. Talk about serendipity. That one moment of you being in a recording session for another character to get one of the most iconic characters, villains from the original series.
And who could have imagined it at the time? It was
Nery, do you remember when we did that signing with Lauren and we had all the Batmobiles?
Yeah, I remember.
We did it at my store. And do you remember what happened when I asked Diane to sign a comic and I had a quote? And Diane, while you were writing it, you actually said it in the Poison Ivy voice, and everybody in the room was dead silent, and they heard you, and all the guys at once went, "Oh."
Yeah, it was kind of funny. It was great. Awesome. You know, once again, you're so talented that's never an issue. So, do you know by any chance who Ivy was before you voiced her? Meaning, whoever the person it was supposed to be.
I don't.
Oh God, that would be a great little piece of fact.
Actually, I would probably never say it to anybody because that's somebody's reputation. We don't go there.
That's true.
But I would love to know personally.
Absolutely. Huh?
It was Mark Hamill.
I used to stand next to Mark during the recording sessions.
Oh, that must have been fun.
The genius.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Man.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, I got to bring it up since you're talking about the genius of so many of these people that were on the show. I mean, you were in probably the most iconic written episodes. I keep saying this because it's amazing how many points you hit. Almost Got Him is beloved by so many fans.
I know.
And you have actors like Mark Hamill, Richard Mole, Arlene Sorkin, Paul Williams. What was it like recording that episode? I've seen on-set photos of you and Kevin and everybody.
Kevin.
Can you describe that day?
Oh, no, I can't remember.
Oh, you can't remember that day?
It was a recording session. Again, out of how many thousands of recording sessions I've done. So, my memory is not that good. I can just tell you that every single episode was a joy to record because they were so professional. And also, we got to record live. It was like the old radio days.
Radio theater, yeah.
We got to stand around. Everybody had their own mic, their own music stand, and we got to look at each other, and we got to react to each other, and we got to feed off each other. None of this just do 17 versions of, none of that. It was wonderful.
That's amazing.
Brilliant.
So, I mean, I can't think of, other than like, you know, people say Batman and Robin and, you know, there's all these duos, but I mean, right now, I think one of the biggest duos in any kind of comic book or comic book related property is Harley and Ivy.
I know.
And I mean, on screen, Harley and Ivy were awesome, like absolutely amazing. And off screen, you're actually
very good friends.
Very good friends with Arlene Sorkin. Did you think that was something that was going to happen from the show? I mean,
no, it happened later on. I mean, I liked her a lot, and and especially when we did Gotham Girls, you know, because that was just the two of us, which was so much fun. We got along, we quipped, we had a great time, and we kept saying, gotta have coffee sometime, but we never did. You know how it is. And then I think when I started doing these cons, I thought, Arlene, and I had found out that she'd been ill. By the way, she's getting some interesting treatments now, and I'm really hoping for her that
we're all hoping, because just imagine what a great blessing it would be after a pandemic to bring out the Arlene Sorkin to shows with you.
I keep saying to her, honey, we got to go on the road. You got to get better. We got to go on the road.
I love it.
Yeah, I contacted her and I said, do you remember me? Because I'm always thinking, you know how you are. You wonder if people remember you, or maybe you don't.
I do it with my own clients. Do you remember me? It's been 3 months. Do you remember me?
Yeah, that would be this morning.
you guys. So I have to stay for a moment. How are we doing on time? Oh,
we're doing fine.
Fine. Don't even worry about it.
You guys, can I tell the story of how I started doing the cons with you, or do you want to wait till later?
Sure,
absolutely. However, we're going to go back a little bit, but sure, go ahead.
Yeah. This is going back. I didn't know that the Batman cartoon was iconic. I didn't know that it was a huge, huge part of the whole comic fan world. I didn't know that there was all of this online things and sites and stuff and fandom, because I kind of don't pay a lot of attention to social media. And my daughter was working up, she's a librarian, and she was up in San Jose, and there was a library there. And she said, Mom, we're doing kind of a little Comic-Con, you know, fundraiser for the library. Would you come up and sign a few autographs? And I said, really? And she said, yeah. And I said, okay, sure. I went up, you know, I mean, I'm going to have a chance to see my daughter. I drove up. I love driving north. And I'm sitting there, and it was like 80 people wanted my autograph. I thought 4. So they had made these cute little postcards for me to sign and everything. And I'm like, and I come back to LA, and I said to a friend at my agent's office, I said, this is what happened. I tell her the story. And she says, well, you should be doing Comic-Cons. And I said, really? She said, yes, call Michael Bell, who is one of your clients, who is an old friend. I said, Michael, so-and-so said I should, you know, do this. Well, absolutely. He said, you have a fan base. And I said, I have a what? That's how out of it I was. He said, check it out. And then he said, call. I think he said, call Chris, right? I think that was me. Yeah. And this is what I remember of the phone call. And don't correct me, because I like this version no matter what it is, okay? I called up and I said, hello, this is Diane Pershing. And you said, Poison Ivy?
Yeah.
Right? And I said, yes. And he said, I said, well, Michael said I should call you. And you said something like, are you seeking some representation to do Comic-Cons? And I went, yes. You said, yes. And we had lunch the next day, the two of us, right? You guys? Yes. And that's what I love, that story.
And we had it at the lunch in Burbank.
Yes.
Burbank at was it a Panera or was it a Market Cafe? Something like that.
No, it was
Pantry, something like that.
Corner Bakery.
The Corner Bakery, thank you.
That's right. It was the Corner Bakery, which is not my favorite place. And I thought, Corner Bakery? I don't know.
Now we know your favorite places, so we don't.
Yeah, now we know. Yeah. But you know what's so funny is that the moment we walked away from that meeting, Chris and I were like, oh my God, where was she for the last 20 years of our lives? Yeah.
I didn't know. And then I started catching up. I started seeing the thing and I said, oh, and I didn't even know about cosplay. I mean, I was so ignorant. This is only, what, 4 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Oh my God, I'm so
It's funny because like, you know, I don't normally admit that I'm not a cool customer out in public, but I mean, I was so not a cool customer when you called. I was like, this is poison ivy. Are you kidding me? Like, this is the beauty of my job, is that I get to talk to people like you. And now I'm going to say it out there, and I don't care if any of my clients get mad at me for saying this, but you and Arlene are like, to me, I mean, I'm like a ginormous Batman fan. I always have been. My dad and I, that was the thing that we enjoyed together. We were both huge Batman fans. So meeting you and Lauren and I mean, the time that I've spent with you and Arlene is like, I'm like a little kid. I really am. I'm not joking. I don't care if I say it out loud. I'm like a little kid when I hang out with you guys, because it's so awesome. It's something that brought so much joy to my life. And I'm just so honored to know you. Seriously, I am.
Thank you so much.
Now, while Chris cools down, speaking of Harley and Ivy, you know, and their semi sort of romance, that connection, you know, you write romance novels, or you did write romance novels.
I did.
Yeah. So how did that start?
Oh, well, again, serendipity. Don't you love my serendipity stories?
I love the serendipity stories.
I had been, my husband and I unfortunately divorced, and he died a year and a half later. And I was raising the two kids alone. And 10 years later or something, I met a guy, and I thought this was the guy. And he had a family, and we were living together, and I had a gorgeous engagement ring and all this stuff. And then basically he dumped me. He'd met someone else. How dare he?
No bueno.
And my heart was broken. And I thought, well, I'll never get over this. And I was in mourning and all of the stuff that one does when one has a breakup. And a friend of mine said, I think you should read a romance novel. And I said, excuse me, I don't read that crap.
Yeah.
And she said,
that trash.
Yeah. And she said, what do you think about it? And I said, it's a bunch of wussy women waiting for men to come and fix them and rescue them. And she said, it's changed. It really isn't that anymore. And I went, okay. She hands me a book. I read the book. I loved it.
What was the book, may I ask?
No, I don't. But I remember the author was Linda Howard.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And it was sexy. It was funny. The women were strong. I loved it. And in the next year, I devoured 300 books in the next year.
Wow.
300. I'm a major reader.
Holy cow.
And I had already written for television. I'd already been a writer. I'd written some lyrics, some songs, all this stuff. And I said, I can write one of these. And I started writing. And the book was about a voiceover actress, me.
Shattered Voices.
That's right. It was called Shattered Voices.
Shattered Voices.
And I sold that. And then over the next 10 years or so, I guess, 10, 15 years, I wrote 19 altogether. And I wound up writing for Harlequin. I had written for another Bantam. And I mean, I had written for all these things. And I had a wonderful time. Plus, I was active in the Romance Writers of America. I became president of Romance Writers of America, a big, huge organization. And I had a wonderful time as a romance writer. But at some point, I just stopped. I think I was done. That's it. I was done writing them. I don't think I had anything more to say. So I don't write them anymore. I write my movie columns now.
Yeah,
sure.
Speaking of your movie columns, I love Diane's movie columns. For people that haven't checked it out, Diane, can you please tell people where to find them?
Oh, the Malibu Times. It's a small but pretty influential newspaper there out in Malibu.
Absolutely. And you know what's great about the Malibu Times is that every time they post one of your article, I usually agree with every opinion you have on there.
Then obviously you have excellent taste.
Absolutely. We both do. Can't say that for Chris, but other than that, you know, we digress.
Oh my God. It never ends with this guy, I swear.
He can't help it.
I can't help it. No, I can't. Unfortunately,
you know
can't.
If I stopped hacking on him and he stopped hacking on me, we would probably be like, hey, what's wrong?
The world would be over, actually. Yeah. The world would have exploded.
For our audience at home, the two best guys.
Aww.
Thank you, darling. I appreciate that.
You have me for the rest of my life until I can't talk anymore.
Even if you choose not to. I told you you'd be signing autographs on an iron lung if we had to.
Only Nery.
So
really wonderful image here. Thank you so much.
Oh
Now,
my God.
speaking of your writing, I know that you did a stint of writing on the Love Boat.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that experience? That's a totally different wheelhouse.
Serendipity again.
Okay.
I wrote a couple of spec TV scripts and nothing much happened on that. And then my friend said, you know, you have a neighbor who lives a few blocks away from you, and he's been writing some spec scripts for TV, and he's best friends with Fred Grandy, who played Gopher on the Love Boat.
Yeah.
So why don't you meet each other? So we did. Bob Nunu, he's unfortunately passed away. Darling man. We had a wonderful time. We wrote a spec script. He got it to the producers because of Fred, who loved the script but didn't buy it. But they asked us to pitch something else, and we did. And they bought that, and they bought another one, and then they asked us to come on staff on the Love Boat. Which, by the way, some of that was because I was a female. There were no other females on the staff. And that's a whole other story we can talk about one of these things. Me in the writer's room. Okay. Anyway,
well, we could talk about it now if you're willing.
No, that's what I will just tell you that most of these guys were comedy writers, and comedy writers are the most depressed people in the world.
Yep.
And in those days, they weren't real happy about this kind of upstart female being in their midst.
I'm sure.
So I don't believe I ever told anybody off. I think I was good, but it was not the most comfortable experience. But that was fine because after 6 months, all new producers came in, everybody was fired, and I was done. And then I wrote a couple of half-hour scripts for stupid little shows. We don't need to mention those. And then I realized I didn't really want to do this anymore either. This has been kind of, you could call it dilettantish. You could call it short attention span.
I'm not going to call it that at all because it's like 7 different careers that you've had. You're going on your 8th one in the convention career.
Except what's always lasted as an actor. And what's lasted for what, 35, 40 years, whatever, is a voice actor. So that's never stopped. And I love that work. I love that work.
Now, how do you keep adjusting? It seems like you are always adapting, finding a new thing. What in your brain tells you, hey, let's move on to the next thing? What am I doing tomorrow?
My brain doesn't tell me anything. It pops up and I go, that's what I'm supposed to do now. It's almost like I've surrendered my career and my interest to some inner voice that I have no control over. And that's fine with me.
It's funny because I actually, my entire life, like I've done literally the exact same thing.
Yeah, you've done a lot of different stuff.
I know. So I know exactly how you feel. Like, yeah. There's no way to explain it. Just one day you're like, hey, I want to do this. And then you just do it.
You know, I call it one day you turn a corner and the next thing comes up. You had no idea that was going to come up. You turned that corner and it was like,
it's amazing. I mean, it's something that I think that only a few people are blessed with in life. Yeah. Would you agree?
Yes, I would. And by the way, I'm never bored.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, Kenny James is watching, and he threatened us to not. We need to tell you that he loves you.
Oh, tell Kenny, you know how much I love you, Kenny.
I know. Kenny's the best.
Don't tell that.
And he also said having dinner with Diane Pershing, John Glover, and Chris. I was there too, damn it! But is a great memory. You know,
we those dinners, especially, you know, John Glover, that I've gotten to know and adore from doing these Comic-Cons, and he did one episode basically of Batman, but doesn't matter. They line up around the block for him because he's done. You know, he's done all the other stuff.
Smallville and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, everything. But he is the funniest man.
He's amazing.
He is darling, isn't he? And
he's so much fun.
We laugh. And Byron Burton, his manager for the cons, we do not stop laughing at dinner. The entire restaurant goes.
Like those people.
Oh my gosh. And you know, you get me wound up, and he likes to wind me up, John. He likes to get me wound up, and I just go on and on and on. Oh.
Do you remember when we were in where were we? It was Soda City, where is that? South Carolina, right? Yeah, that we did that one, and Adrian Barbeau was with us.
Yes, Adrian. Yes.
Yeah, that was a good dinner too.
That was great. Yeah.
You hadn't seen Adrian in several years, and then you guys did a con together, right?
Well, we used to be with the same voiceover agent, and so we would meet in the reception area, and she was writing also. So we would talk about writing all the time. And it was wonderful. And then she dropped out of my life and I dropped out of hers. And then we reconnected with something, I don't know what. And I went to her book signing, and she's a darling, darling woman. But that one con she did a couple of cons with us, right?
I think Grand Rapids, right, was one of the first that we did.
I remember the cities we were in.
I do, because I enjoyed every moment of my life with you.
I love them, but I'm not good with remembering.
No, I understood. So it was Grand Rapids. It was the first time that you guys had all done a reunion together.
Right, and it was so good to see her. She's such a darling woman, so talented, so talented.
She's so nice.
What do you think made Batman the Animated Series such a profound and long-lasting success, Diane?
A few things. First of all, physically, it was strikingly different from anything else. It didn't play down to the kids.
Yes.
It really was a pretty grown-up series.
And that's thanks to Bruce Timm and Paul Dini.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That almost Germanic look, that kind of dark, foreboding thing that they use later in the movies, you know? Yeah. I mean, really, that was one of it. So the actual cartoon, the characters, and then Andrea Romano's brilliant voice direction. The cast, the scripts were wonderful. So, I mean, I've done a lot of cartoons. That was the best one of all the cartoons I've worked on, and I've enjoyed them all. That was the most artistically creative and enjoyable show to record.
So I was going to ask you, if you could choose any series or role in your career, would that be your personal favorite? And I assume Poison Ivy is.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, sure. Especially now that I'm so famous. You know, the life of a voice actor is anonymous. And I just like that. I have no trouble with it. I thought I wanted to be a star, but when I was with Johnny Mathis and we would go out after the show for a drink or go to coffee, he couldn't. I mean, he'd try, but they mobbed him. He had no time. And I think there was a part of me that looked at that and went, perhaps I don't want to be a star.
Yeah, just ask Nery. It happens to him all the time. It's his hat.
Well, he's so adorable.
They think I'm Josh Gad. That's the problem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, literally, we were at an In-N-Out.
In-N-Out.
A few months before the pandemic, and somebody walks up and goes, "We just saw you in the Book of Mormon." I said, "No, you didn't. It wasn't me." And they said, "No, we insist. We won't tell anybody." As if I was really not. If I was really Josh Gad. I'm not.
The crazy part is they were in their car. And they were driving away in their car, and they stopped their car.
Jumped out of the car.
To come over and say it.
Yeah. And ask for a photo.
Now you know how fame feels. See?
Yep.
I don't. Yeah. No. I don't need that type of fame. No. But you know.
So, Diane, there's a lot of people who are watching us right now that are, I'm sure, aspiring voiceover artists. Would you have some advice for those fans out there?
Oh Lord.
You're like, no.
No,
don't do it.
I don't even, no, I would never say that. If you have enough fire in the belly, enough talent, and good work habits, you can absolutely try to have this career. I can't tell you if you're going to make it or not. I know the most brilliant, talented, fabulous, wonderful people who are not working. I don't know a secret. I do know that do not assume it's easy. Get training, take classes, network, work on yourself all the time. Listen to every voice you hear on TV and radio. Listen to how they do it. Practice, work your butt off. Because there's a lot to doing voiceovers that, I mean, it looks easy. Oh, just talking to a microphone. Yes, my son thinks I ought to be doing, you know. No. It really, I'm not. I don't. How do I sound without sounding? It actually takes talent, and also if you have an acting background, if you take acting classes and stuff, you actually bring that extra thing to any. I mean, when I'm doing a perfume commercial, when I'm doing, I think about who I'm talking to, what message I want to get across. I want to work for the people that have hired me, so I want to make sure they're happy. It's not ego. We don't get ego doesn't work in this business.
Right.
But is there a secret? No. There's pure blind luck and pray a lot. You know, that's about it. Yeah.
Do you have any regrets for anything that you've done in your career?
Nothing. Mm-mm. There, once in a while, there's one of those. I wonder what would have happened had I stayed in New York.
Ah.
That's.
Wow.
But all of us, especially as we get older, think, I wonder about that alternate life I didn't get to live. And then I say, yeah, but had I done that, I would not have these children,
Wouldn't be right here.
this career,
Yep.
these friends, this marvelous condo I live in the hills with nothing but trees all around.
Absolutely beautiful. We've been there.
No, and you know, it's just that's this life. That one could have been a bust.
That's true.
We don't know, but there's nothing wrong with thinking, I wonder what would have, could have. You know that movie Sliding Doors? Where
I don't know that one.
you must see that.
Sliding Doors. I'm gonna put up notes.
Sliding Doors. Gwyneth Paltrow. She it's in London, and she's running to the subway.
Oh,
And
okay.
she almost makes the train but doesn't, and that's part of the movie. And then there's the what if she does make the train, and that's part of the movie. So there's alternate universes going on. It's about a 5-second difference that makes every single thing change. It's just a brilliant movie. Check it out.
And that's serendipity, essentially what it is.
Exactly.
I mean, the reason we're all here, the reason the company exists is serendipity, because Chris ran into Pat Fraley at an art supply store where he was going to meet him later that night. I mean, serendipity.
And I wouldn't have had the conversation that I had with him later at night than I did in the beginning, because I had like a one-on-one confrontation with him, or not confrontation, but conversation with him while we're at the art store. If it was later on, there would have been fans.
5 seconds. That's what I'm going to say. Like you said, 5-second difference.
5 seconds. And by the way, for the audience who may not know, Pat Fraley, it's impossible to do sessions with him because he makes you laugh so hard.
Amazing.
You can't get your lines out. He's so brilliant. Anyway, yes.
Now, before we go on to the next segment, I'm going to read the fan questions that are on the site. If you don't mind taking a few fan questions.
Yeah, fan questions. Woo.
Okay. Well, I have to highlight Christy Sproul because she said, I can't wait.
We
love Christy.
We love Christy.
Suzanne Bradley says Poison Ivy is my favorite.
Everybody.
Suzanne.
Carol Widmer says Our Legend.
Oh, she's a neighbor.
Aw.
She's very proud of me.
Mike Ensley says The Most Lovely Lady.
Why, thank you, Mike.
Mike's, you did his show in Pensacon in Pensacola, Florida.
Yeah. Okay.
Kai Guzman says, my favorite people miss all three of you.
Kai, hi.
Okay. Kenny James says, I know Diane Pershing from the likes of Confusion with Felix the Hotel Cat. Do you remember? We got to talk a little bit about this, Diane.
Wait,
Alabama.
All right. I feel like the Alzheimer's is
Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
I remember Muscle Shoals, honey.
I wasn't there. It was just Nery.
I remember. But what about the cat?
There was a cat in the hotel we were staying at. It was like, remember there was bloody carpets on the floor of the hotel?
Oh, yes. Oh my. Isn't that funny?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm so disappointed I didn't get to go on this trip.
Oh, it was so cool. That was when we went to that marvelous recording studio, right?
Yes, Fame. I think, was it Fame Studios? Right?
Fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Fame.
So good. Yeah.
No, we had a great time.
That was the one where I said they were putting out the food, and I said, "Are there any vegetables?" Because, you know, me and my salads and my vegetables. And the guy said, yep, we got potatoes and mac and cheese. That was our. And I said, okay, I guess I'm not getting my salad tonight. I didn't think about that.
I'm glad I wasn't there. I would have been making jokes like there was no tomorrow.
Oh, but darling people. Darling.
Absolutely. It was a great time, and we had such a fun trip. I remember us sitting at the airport and just laughing and talking. So
yes.
A lot of fun. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Kenny James having dinner with Diane okay, no, I already did that one. And where he excludes me, but that's okay. We love our Aunt Diane. We were watching you.
Oh, Valerie, thank you.
Hey, Michelle Thibodeau made a comment.
I know. I'm going down, Chris. Cosmetic voice, Diane, from Carol Widmer.
That's right. That's my cosmetic voice.
Tony Wilmouth, Diane Pershing made the series.
Wow.
That's really nice, Tony. Oh, yes, she is. Andrea Romano absolutely is. The best, yes. I assume is what she was talking about.
Yeah, she had one earlier where she wrote, oh my gosh, Diane, Chris, and Nery. We met her in Phoenix.
Okay, whatever you say.
Yeah, we met her at Phoenix Comic-Con. She's very, very nice girl.
Question for Diane. Stephen Powell asked, if you could voice any other animated character, who would you like to voice and why?
Oh, gosh, I have no idea. I'm trying to. Oh, I know. No, I would. This is a voice that I like to do all the time, and no one has ever asked me to use it on a cartoon. And I would like to use this voice if somebody would like to make a cartoon for me.
Well, if Downton Abbey does a recreation animated series, you can do it. You can be that.
You know, a fidgety old grandmother. Anyway, I love that voice, and I think I did it once on a children's television show, but that's the only time.
It's a good voice. I like it.
I don't watch cartoons, so how can I give you?
No, it's fine. You know what's funny though is that when we're going to dinner next, whenever we're out of this epidemic or pandemic, you're gonna do that voice while we're ordering.
Okay. Oh yes, darling. What should we put?
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Abraham Barrios says, we miss you. Hope to see you soon.
Yes. Oh, lovely man with a wonderful family.
Bonnie Campmeyer says, you're the best, Diane.
Oh, she's a good friend. Thank you, Bonnie.
Saki the Sock Puppet says, if I were to encounter Poison Ivy, should I fight her or make her laugh?
Oh, laugh, please.
Laugh, please. Kai de Guzman says, question, who would you like to see as a modern-day DC film acting as Ivy?
You mean on camera?
Yeah, what actress?
The one that does Wonder Woman.
Oh,
Brie Larson?
Gal Gadot?
No,
Brie Larson did Captain Marvel.
That's right. That's who I would actually have. But, but I probably somebody even sexier. I don't know.
It's okay.
You're making me think off the top of my head, and I can't.
What did you think of, everybody asks us, and we don't know, because we're like, ask Diane, what did you think of Uma Thurman coming after you? What did you think of that performance?
I thought it was fine for what it was. I really do. There's no, you can't compare. It's just a completely different thing, movies.
Absolutely.
It was fine.
And then the last thing was Michelle said, oh my gosh, you saw that and said my name. I'm freaking out.
Well,
Michelle, I'll say it again.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for watching, Michelle. Okay, so we always end the show off with a particular segment, and thankfully Diane has agreed to do this. So we're going to do a voiceover spotlight of particularly Poison Ivy to wrap up the show. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to pull out my phone, and I'm sure you have your sheet of paper in front of you. And we're gonna do some Poison Ivy recreations. That sounds good, from the most notable lines of the series.
Okay, tell me.
And whenever you're ready.
Oh, what's the matter, Batman? Do I have cooties? And then?
You can do the next one.
They can bury me in the ground as deep as they like, but I'll grow back. We always grow back, don't we, baby? And then, oh, The poor district attorney. I hear he's not expected to live. It's so sad. Oh. So, his fate was sealed with a kiss. And now, so is yours.
Diane, thank you so much for coming on. Oh my God.
Amazing.
Just wait. That's going to go viral,
There's
Diane.
people falling down all over watching this.
Okay, I'm so glad people are falling down.
Yes.
Oh.
Now, we're going to do a couple pitches. Of course, we've approached the end, but can you tell people where to find you? Can you talk about your website? Do you want to plug anything?
I do have a website, www.dianepershing.com. Christy Sproul is my webmaster and my dear friend. What else? I have a Facebook page that I mostly have for people I know, and then I have a professional Facebook page. And please feel free to go to both or either. The reason that I don't friend people that I don't know on Facebook is because I don't know them. And if you're recommended highly by somebody else, maybe.
So go to our official fan page. Go to our official fan page on Facebook.
And then I'm really, really, really trying to make this Instagram thing happen. It baffles me still. Lauren Lester explained how to work it, and I still don't know.
And for people that don't know, Lauren Lester is Robin and Nightwing from the series, so that's kind of cool. I just imagine it like I imagine an animated skit where
explaining it to me, and I wrote notes and everything.
Robin showing Ivy his phone.
Animated.
This is how you do it.
Yeah. No, and that's write to me at my website, and I'd love to, and I'll probably answer you too, because especially during the pandemic, I don't have a lot to do.
Well, I do have something that the fans can know. If you guys are looking to purchase an autograph and want to mail in an autograph or mail in an item to get signed by Diane Pershing, we have agreed to a partnership with Zobid Productions at V-Shout to do a mail-in service. So if you go to www.celebworx.com, that's www.celebworx.com with an X, you can go on there, click on Diane's photo, and choose an autograph 8x10 or send in one of your personal items for a small fee. So
I'll be signing cars, all these things.
And
go ahead, Nery.
And everything that you guys send in for every item you purchase, Diane includes a little bit of a proof videos with each additional autograph. So
hi, I say.
Hi, whoever it is. Hi, Timmy and Austin. This is Diane. Thanks for being fans. So
hi, Nery. I know you have 50,000 of these, but here's one more.
Now, before we take off, Chris wants to tell you a few things. So take it away, Chris.
Yes, I do. So for the CelebWorx live show, for this show that we're on right now, we'll be back next Sunday at 5 p.m. And we want to announce our special guest for next week's program. We've been knocking them out of the park recently here. So guess what? You're not going to be disappointed for next week. Also, we're going to have none other than Wonder Woman herself, Susan Eisenberg, on the show next Sunday, 5 p.m., same time, same bat channel. And also, we also want to remind all of the G.I. Joe fans out there that we have our show on Thursday. It's called Yo-Jo Rap. And Yo-Jo Raps this week at 5 p.m., also Pacific time. We are going to have none other than Mr. Will Ryan on the show. And Will Ryan doesn't normally do these, so definitely if you want to see like a really cool interview, Will is awesome. He's got a lot of great stories. Phenomenal guy to listen to. So anyways, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. And we thank you, Diane, for coming on. We love you dearly. My name is Christopher Arsaga, and you can follow me at The Real Arsaga on Instagram. And in the words of Alfred from Batman Begins, why do we fall, sir? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up.
And this has been Nery Lemus, and you can follow me at The Real Nery Lemus on Instagram. Just leaving you with a small reminder, keep your feet on the ground, always reach for the stars, and never forget to stay inspired. Night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.